Let's go to the chop. NASCAR changes their image in 1 week. A Pride Month victory and Trump's pouty response.
We live with the decision.
Coronavirus on the rise in the South, and Dave lets loose.
8 minutes and 46 seconds.
All this and more today in Old News. Anarchy on the streets.
Radical leftist, anarchist thugs.
Dangerous mobs of far-left groups are running through our streets and causing absolute mayhem.
As downtown Seattle has been taken over by depraved, bloodthirsty, baby-eating Antifa warlords.
Literally ruled by a warlord.
They are destroying our cities and rioting.
They kicked out the police so they can centralize their reign of terror.
No doubt, some of these protesters are armed, Anderson, so...
And of course, eat babies.
It's absolute madness.
A 6-block area in downtown Seattle has been taken over by protesters. They call it the CHOP, short for Capitol Hill Organized Protest. And the worst thing that could possibly happen is happening right there. Everything's fine.
There's no looting, there's no violence here. This is really a peaceful zone.
People are saying they feel safer without the police.
All of us feel safer.
There are people keeping watch and making sure everyone is safe.
Hundreds of people have been gathering to demonstrate, hear speeches, and attend events. Occupants are reading poetry, making art, and distributing free food to fellow protesters and the homeless.
There is the No Cop Co-op, where everything is free.
They're engaging in open forum debates about the future they want to build. It's closer to a hippie commune than a militia takeover, and it's the most Seattle's done to change America since the grunge movement of the 1990s. They gave us a freedom town and alternative music. You could do worse. But some media outlets are doing their best to make it look like things are out of control.
These people have taken over. This is a hostage situation.
As you can see from this image, which Fox News made from this image of a volunteer security guard for the autonomous zone. And these two images from the Minneapolis riots. You can make anything happen with Photoshop. The city's leaders are standing up for the protesters.
It's not an armed takeover. It's not a military junta.
Hoping to come to a peaceful resolution with their own citizens, because working shit out has longer lasting results than using force.
If they don't straighten that situation out, we're going to straighten it out.
But impeached president wearing reverse clown makeup Donald Trump rumbled with the city officials by engaging in some good old schoolyard discourtesies. Trump said domestic terrorists have taken over Seattle, and Governor Jay Inslee was looking the fool. The governor tweeted back, "A man who is totally incapable of governing should stay out of Washington State's business."
I don't know why the president is so afraid of democracy.
Seattle Mayor Ginny Durkin defended the right to protest and told President Trump, "Make us all safe. Go back to your bunker."
One of the things this president will never understand is that listening to community is not a weakness.
The lightning speed of changes all across the nation are making Americans say, "You mean you could have done this the whole time?" Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben are gone. Facebook removed a post by Trump because of Nazi imagery. NASCAR fixed its image in a single week.
That company has done more in 1 week for racial equality than it had done in the past 70 years.
They banned the Confederate flag, will now have the pride flag displayed, will allow kneeling protests during the national anthem. There's a Black Lives Matter vehicle, they banned gun ads, and fired a driver for using the N-word. Welcome to the real world, NASCAR. It's great to have you.
It is very hard to do something that's unpopular. With their fan base, this is a very unpopular decision.
With how fast they did it, it seems like it must have been building up over quite some time. The president had to have been like, "I fucking hate these people. They're loud, entitled assholes. We never get any celebrities. I want to meet Katy fucking Perry. How can we get the liberal community to support us?" But in like 1 day, police reforms have started rolling out all over the country. In San Francisco, trained unarmed professionals will respond to non-criminal calls from now on.
We have already a team of homeless outreach workers with the Department of Public Health who are much better at figuring out what people's needs are related to mental health, substance use.
Over the next year, the city will develop a community-based service response from crisis relief, homeless outreach, street medicine, or behavioral health professionals.
I think it's better all the way around. Like I said, it will free up police officers to respond to the dangerous and the emergency type calls.
It will also focus on demilitarizing the police and redirecting funds to invest in marginalized communities.
In the fraternity called the police,
there are some people who are saying we need to change.
Said former San Francisco Mayor 1970s Garrett Morris, LAPD officers will be replaced for nonviolent calls by unarmed, non-law enforcement agencies. The Denver School Board voted unanimously to remove police from public schools. Seattle banned police crowd control weapons, and Albuquerque will use social workers to respond to certain 911 calls. And most believe this is just the beginning. It's Pride Month, and in true Pride spirit, a bunch of gay shit went down this week. Jacksonville City Council restored struck-down LGBTQ discrimination protections. The LGBTQ community has a large presence in the national protests, standing in solidarity with Black Lives Matter. And the Supreme Court delivered a huge win by ruling that the Civil Rights Act protects gay, lesbian, and transgender workers.
Until today, it used to be that a gay person could be legally married on Sunday and legally fired on Monday, but not anymore.
Churches are, of course, exempt, as well as very small businesses. But the big ones, like Hobby Lobby or Chick-fil-A, they may have to hire any qualified American. Remember, this is 2020. We've been to the moon. We've split the atom. We can augment DNA. We have computers in our pocket connected by geosynchronous satellites. And now, finally, gay people can sell crafts.
This is a major, major, major step forward for the LGBT community and I think for the United States of America.
And how did disgraced President and Christmastime mall Grinch Donald Trump respond to the ruling saying a person couldn't be fired simply because of their sexual orientation?
We live with the decision of the Supreme Court.
Which is literally the nicest thing he's ever said about the LGBTQ community. He celebrated this month of tolerance by launching a policy that would remove LGBTQ people and women seeking abortions from the Affordable Care Act's non-discrimination protections.
People could be denied life-saving care.
Especially with COVID happening now.
The worst decision on the worst possible timing.
How's that for a fuck you and a Merry Christmas? The disconnected tyrant also delayed his controversial campaign rally, which was scheduled on Juneteenth, the unofficial holiday commemorating the end of slavery.
I'm sure the president's going to say something that's going to be divisive.
He delayed it because it's a Trump rally, which means you'll be seeing a lot of these flags. Not ideal for an end of slavery holiday.
Just knowing the comments that he makes and how he speaks to people, I just don't see it being very positive, especially not for our community.
He knows that him doing anything on a black holiday would be disrespectful. On that day, he should just stay in his bunker. And the big thing that everyone is talking about online is this super awkward sip of water the feeble dictator carefully engaged in. We looked into it. That's just how he drinks water now. Why? Is the weight of the presidency crushing him into a diamond for his demon children to sell? Or is there some sinister reason for his delicate Queen of England-style water sips? It is Trump, after all. We'll keep you informed on this growing scandal, which we're calling Watergate. As America falls into chaos, the man in the White Castle finds himself with fewer and fewer allies, as it's slowly being discovered everybody hates Trump. The blushing monarch battles to keep 3 embarrassing tell-all books off the shelf. One from his niece, who he scammed out of inheritance. The other book about Melania Trump's business relationship with the frail billionaire. And a new book by National Security Advisor John Bolton, whose real name is Samuel Clemens, where he goes into detail about the donkey show that is A Day at the Office with the Mad King, saying things like, he was begging China to help him win re-election. He didn't know Britain was a nuclear power. He doesn't know where Finland is. And he thinks that concentration camps are a good idea. Seriously.
You described the president as erratic, foolish, behaved irrationally, bizarrely. You can't leave him alone for a minute. He saw conspiracies behind rocks and was stunningly uninformed.
Sounds like the same thing written in this other tell-all book published anonymously last November. Some U.S. states are showing record numbers of coronavirus cases, which brings us to our ongoing segment, Who Knew? Ending a quarantine early causes infections to spread. Who knew?
I hope that the lockdown governors, I don't know why they continue to lock down, because if you look at Georgia, if you look at Florida, if you look at South Carolina, if you look at so many different places that have opened up, I think they are doing tremendous business.
Today, I am more concerned about COVID-19 in South Carolina than I have ever been before.
New data shows the largest single-day increase of confirmed positive COVID-19 cases in the state of Florida. The health department says it recorded 1,698 cases in the last 24 hours.
Florida, Texas, and Arizona, which is how most bad phrases start, are seeing their highest number of cases. Alabama state hospitals have reached capacity. More than 20 states are seeing increases in coronavirus cases, many hitting peak numbers, states that reopened early taking the brunt of the new spike. But the real problem is now it's in the South, and they don't believe the virus is real.
These poor doctors and nurses are working and carting out dead people in Montgomery, Alabama, only to have others outside the hospital asking if the coronavirus is a hoax as we approach 120,000 dead Americans.
Their leader told them it would go away. Go back to work, and if you wear a mask, you're a pussy. Or you're only wearing it to make him look bad. He seriously said that.
I can't breathe in my mask, so I have asthma as it is, so I can't wear my mask.
That's right, she won't wear a mask because she has asthma. Yep. And they're going to have a rally, even though Tulsa, where it's being held, saw an infection increase of 116% last week.
We expect to have, it's like a record-setting crowd. We've never had an empty seat.
Indoor transmission is much more likely than outdoors.
And we certainly won't in Oklahoma.
That is a super spreader event, potentially.
Don't worry. Everyone signed a waiver saying that if they catch the most contagious disease in the last 100 years while crowded next to 100,000 people screaming with no masks on in an enclosed space, they won't sue the president and outbreak monkey Typhoid Trump. We'll see how this goes in about 2 weeks. At this point, what do you think Trump's body count is? If healthcare is too expensive, people won't go to the hospital. Who knew? It's being found that a major factor for the gratuitous spread of the virus in the United States is that a lot of people don't go to the doctor.
People are going to try to self-medicate, and that is going to be a serious problem for all of us.
And we can see why as the bills start to roll in.
If you need to go into the hospital, you're going to end up probably spending anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000.
We told you earlier about a Colorado man who spent 2 weeks in an ICU fighting off the coronavirus. He went home to recover, but then he received an $840,000 bill.
No, thank you. If I had hundreds of thousands of dollars, I'd have gone to college. If you shit on people for long enough, you get a rebellion. Who knew?
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
And in other news, thanks to a couple of British biddies, coronavirus is back in New Zealand.
Both women arrived in New Zealand and were permitted on compassionate grounds to leave managed isolation.
Breaking its 24-day streak.
Throughout COVID-19, there has been pressure from many corners, including the courts, to relax the rules around compassionate exemptions. This case has proven our need for caution. While it may be a hard and unpopular position to take, it is the right one for our country.
Now that's how you control a virus. Band-Aid finally learned that black and brown people are a thing. We're not doing it. We're not going to the easy, they put a Band-Aid on the problem joke. It's lazy. Also, every other comedy show beat us to it.
They are literally putting a Band-Aid on the problem of racism.
This is putting a Band-Aid on the problem.
They're not making fun of them for having a bad idea. It's a good idea. They're making fun of them for taking so long to do it. It's 100 different sizes and shapes, but the only color is Europe.
And I want to shout out all the young people who have had the courage to go out and do all this amazing work protesting. I'm very proud of you.
And finally, Dave Chappelle drops a surprise special.
Are you guys having a good time or is this weird?
Comedians have helped us through these crazy times. Norm Macdonald helped us through the fear.
All the fucking news was like, the guy was like, well, there's been so far 11 cases, 50, 200. I don't feel good, you know, you're like, oh. This is not good.
Louis C.K. helped us through the loneliness.
How are you? How was your last couple of years? How was 2018 and 19 for you guys?
And now Dave Chappelle is helping us through the anger.
This man kneeled on a man's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. Can you imagine that? This kid thought he was gonna die. He knew he was gonna die. He called for his mother.
It's not that funny.
This is not funny at all.
But it's fucking good.
I got some pussy jokes too I could do, but I just
And it just felt good to see live comedy again.
I don't care what this nigga did. I don't care if he personally kicked Candace Owens in her stinky pussy. I don't know if it stinks, but I imagine it does.
And as you know, television goes off the air this time every night. Join us again tomorrow morning for Howdy Doody.
If I ever find out, I'll let you know for sure. I'll tell like Azealia Banks, I'll tell.